Hi, welcome back to the Blissful Heart channel. I am Desiree Lee and I am here to give you your weekly bliss fix. Today I will be talking to you about life after union, the mission work edition. Hi, welcome back to my channel. To all of my subscribers, and for anybody that's new, you have come to my channel in a time of transformation. I am currently branching out and doing all sorts of videos. I am here to cater to not only the twin flame community, but anybody on a spiritual journey. So, if you have any requests about what you would like to know more about, please feel free to suggest it in the comment box below. This is something that I have been wanting to do for quite a while, actually. I don't know, it's just taken me a while. But, I feel like one of the things that's really missing in our community is a little bit of humor, where we can kind of have some tongue-in-cheek humor on how crazy this journey is, not only as a twin flame, which obviously this video is specific to twin flame community, but just like on the spiritual journey itself. So I just want to disclaimer this before I even get anywhere with it, is that I am absolutely and completely so grateful to not only be on the twin flame journey, to be able to communicate with spirit and channel messages from the divine, but to be in union with my divine counterpart. So, while I may be getting a little complainy today or making jokes today, I just want everyone to know that I have the utmost devotion to this process, and sometimes it's just a little frustrating, if you get what I'm saying. It's so funny, I saw something on Instagram the other day about giving that bitchy, complaining voice of yours a name, and I was like, what's mine's name? And it was immediately Karen. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry I laughed at you that time you got diarrhea at Barnes & Noble. And I'm sorry I told everyone about it.
And I know it's a little cliche, whatever. I just, that voice is now Karen. And every time she comes up with something shitty to say, I'm like, okay, Karen. So I just thought it was funny because a little bit of this will have something to do with her. So today I wanted to share with you what life is like after union, and specifically regarding mission work. I think this is so hilarious because, when prior to coming into union, which some of you have actually been on this journey with me where I was doing twin flame readings every week and I eventually came into union. It'll actually be 2.5 years that I've been in union, I believe February or March. And I finally feel like I am right back on track with getting devoted to my mission work. But here's the funny thing that I think is so ridiculous. When we talk to spirit, the human language is imperfect, right? We know that our human experience, we are doing the best we can to communicate with the tools we've got, and until we're able to speak telepathically, which I know for sure will happen someday, but until we're able to do that, where we're actually expressing ourselves with thoughts and feelings instead of these words that are so clunky and cumbersome, it's hard to translate, right? And what I find with what I call spirit talk or angelic conversation or divine downloads, however you want to refer to it as, is that they really like to communicate in what is maybe referred to as a light language. Everything's very beautiful and powerful, and it has this sense of enormity behind it. Having been getting messages from the divine for a long time, it starts to become kind of well, what do you mean by that exactly? Mission work has been such a really powerful term in the twin flame community, and it's actually something that I think belongs to every human being on this planet. In fact, when every human being is living their divine purpose, then we will be a civilization in perfect and divine harmony, because that suggests that every person on the planet is living in their heart space, right? And mission work almost always, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that mission work always has to do with helping others in some way, shape, or form. But when you take it, let's go ahead and just, I don't know, what does Google have to say? What is twin flame mission work?
According to Seek Cindy, WordPress.com, twin flames are about the mission. The mission of unconditional love, of healing the masses, of healing themselves, of coming into the perfect place, position, and energetic alignment necessary to carry out their great work. They are angels on earth, but they come with their own set of devils.
Wow. I mean, that sounds pretty enormous, right? I mean, you know, I can say like prior to union, in my mind, the mission work was something that I was already preparing for. Like I felt like, and I still do, but my whole life was building up to this mission work, and I just couldn't wait for this mission work. And then, you know, when I really felt like I was on track with that, was when I started teaching yoga, and then, you know, it evolved to me doing readings on YouTube and sharing messages from the divine with the community and helping others on the twin flame journey, you know. So then when I came into union and there was like this huge disruption of my flow, and there's a lot of reasons behind that I'll get into a little bit more later. But, you know, it's like, wait a minute, what is my mission work exactly? And what do you mean by mission work, Spirit? And they're like, oh, well, what is it? Healing the masses, healing themselves, and coming into the perfect place, position, and energetic alignment necessary to carry out their great work. So great work. I mean, it sounds incredibly tremendous. And, you know, I am not going to deny that it isn't, because it is. But in terms of human consciousness and like how many times you are like completely conscious and connected in your daily life and like online with the spirit web, when you're there and plugged into that, and then when you're in your 3D experience of working your job and paying your bills and dealing with taxes and dealing with medical expenses and animals passing away, and, you know, like there's that happening too, right? And then, you know, so it's like there's all these things that are taking place. And yes, the great work is, no surprise, the two of you coming together and working on being in a healthy relationship. Wow. You know, that's what I think is really, really interesting. I feel like I was, for those of you that don't know, I was single for about 10 years. I mean, I'm talking abstinent, right? And in that timeline, I was saving myself for the right one. And I had a conversation with Spirit, and I was like, look, I'm not wasting my time with anybody, because I know for sure that I have a one. You've told me I have a one. I feel it in my heart. I have a one, and I'm not gonna waste my time with anybody that's not the one. And I'm gonna work on myself, because I already knew that I had a lot of issues around self-love and, you know, just fears of getting hurt, other insecurities and doubts, you know, like everybody. And so here I am working on all of that. And I get in contact with my twin again after all these years of separation, get into union, which was no small feat. And then I have to confront all this shit that I thought I had healed, like for real. It's like, I was thinking about like the analogies, there's just an endless amount of them, but you know how like when you're in junior high and you're feeling like you're like on top of the world, because you're like in that higher category, that older age group, and then you go to high school and you're a freshman again, and then you're like a senior in high school and you feel like you're on top of the world, and then you go to college and you have to be a new person at college. And right, we see this cycle repeat everywhere in our lives where you constantly are being humbled repeatedly. Yes, well, union was a super humbling process for me. And what I'm realizing about this mission work, which is really just like, you know, be love. I mean, really is be love. And if you are being love, then you will, you know, help spread that energy of love. Like the thing is that you don't have to be super conscious about this mission work. Like, why can't Spirit just be like, hey, be happy, do nice things. That's all there is to it. And you will help people inadvertently if you are doing those things. Like, it's not something that's incredibly complicated. However, what is complicated is being love all the time. That is what's hard, okay? And so, like, one of the things where I feel like being abstinent for 10 years, being in that space of being like in self-care and doing like a lot of self-development work, reading books, doing yoga teacher training, you know, journaling, going to workshops, doing seminars. I mean, I was constantly working on myself, and it was worth it to me because I was getting improvement. I was seeing improvement in my life. I was feeling better. Like, it was obviously working, you know? I mean, I've always thought that there would come a point where I wouldn't have to work so hard, that it would be effortless, you know? But that's not the case. Spoiler alert, that is not the case. You achieve a certain level of growth, and then when I came back into union, I realized that a lot of my fears around being abandoned were still hanging out. They were just, like dusty in a corner because I wasn't in a relationship, so I had nobody triggering me, but here I am with my soul mate, my one love, and the beginning was incredibly rocky and unstable, and in terms of like where he was at emotionally and mentally when we came into union and where I was at. He was somebody that was constantly in relationships where I was somebody that hadn't been in one. So, here he has like baggage from all these other relationships, and I have baggage from not being in a relationship, like just having my space, having everything to myself, not having to share anything, not having to worry about getting hurt because nobody was close enough to me to get hurt, right? So it really did feel like I was graduating into another school and starting out from the beginning, kind of. You have the tools, right? But you're learning some new shit now, and there's stuff you didn't know about before, or you're revisiting things that you forgot about. It really is like humbling. So I am like, man, what the fuck? You like telling me all about this twin flame thing. It's so like Disney story, right? Like, oh, it's the prince and the princess, or the two princes or the two princesses, whatever, right? It's just this fantasy. And no joke, you guys, when especially like, I want to say the last 6 to 9 months prior to union, I was in 5D like all the time, and it was surreal. And I was talking to spirit like in full on conversation all the time. It wasn't even like I had a choice. It was like, talk to him, don't talk to him, leave him alone, don't leave him alone, tell him this, let him know you love him, now give him some space. Like, I was just all, okay, and the whole time there was just this deep, deep love, which I still have, okay? Don't get me wrong, I'm getting chills just thinking about it, honestly. I still have it, but in terms of how we are conditioned as a society, as we are conditioned, especially as little girls with the Disney movies, is all about the fantasy, right? What happens when you obtain the fantasy and it's here every day? Well, in the beginning, it's surreal, it's amazing, you can't even believe it, Then it's like, oh, hello, I'm afraid of being abandoned. Oh shit, that's still there, Oh my gosh, I have to share space with someone, Now we have to share our income, and how are we gonna do that? It was totally like 3D, up in your face, like very real problems that you've got to deal with, very real emotional things you've got to deal with. It's rocky, okay? It's so rocky. And what's so hilarious, if you've been with me since the beginning, you remember me talking about like the honeymoon period, which I always put in air quotes, like, oh, Spirit says that once you get into union, you'll have like a honeymoon period, or like a space of grace, right? And so there's that spirit talk again. Human translation, honeymoon period is no pressure because you're dealing with a lot of shit. So we're just gonna leave you alone for a little while until you figure that shit out. If my twin and I had come into union when we first met, it would have been a disaster. I hadn't done any work on myself yet. And you know, quite frankly, he had a lot of learning to do about himself as well. So what I'm learning, and one of the things I wanna like just squash right now is that a lot of divine feminines think the divine masculine needs to be exactly where they are, and that's not true at all, okay? But what is true is that the divine feminine needs to be ready for the reality of being in union. And you know, because the divine feminine is the one that is in the lead and the one that is more aware of this whole dynamic and this whole balancing, and you know, the divine feminine is doing all the conscious work to earn. I mean, I don't mean it literally, but earn, like, let's figure out a better word for that, right? I mean, I sometimes get nitpicked on for words, and I'm like, let's just reference back to what I said in the beginning. You don't earn a union, you basically go through all of the tests that qualify you to handle the enormity of the power of your energies being in the same roof, okay? Living next to your mirror and being able to take it in stride. And I have to say, you know, I've had people along the way in the last 2.5 years be like, I hope you're being treated right, blah, blah, blah. And I just want to make it super duper clear that my divine masculine has never treated me bad. My false twin and my previous soulmate before that, I've had 3 great loves, were awful to me and verbally and emotionally abusive to me. My twin has never been like that. Like, I was so scared, you guys, just so scared. You know, 10 years of solitude, so to speak, really like made my control of like wanting to feel safe, like I had a fortress around me. Just know that while you're dreaming of union, and you should, okay, because it is a miracle and it is a blessing and a gift. In fact, just the other day, January 1st, Happy New Year, by the way, we were watching TV together, and we have one of those little clocks under the TV that has the time and the date on it. And so we were watching TV, and I was thinking, I was like laying on his chest with my arm around him, and I was just like, I can't believe this is my life. Like, I feel so blessed. I've always longed for this kind of love, and here it is, and I'm living it, and it might have taken a while, but I'm so grateful. Like, I was literally thinking that. And then I looked at the clock, and it was 11:11 on 1/1, you know, 01/01, and I was like, oh wow, you know, the syncs don't ever quit. So I just feel like it's important to know that it always is worth it to me. A life without this wouldn't be worth it. So even though I'm complaining quite a bit, I also want you to know that it's worth it. Yeah. You know, now I've got all these other, like, Karen is coming in with all these other bitchy fears and complaints about, like, my age and my weight and how I look and what I should be doing and what I haven't done, and I have like all this pressure on me now from Karen to be doing more, and then coming in with like being a failure, in particular with my YouTube channel. You know, just like, it's so crazy what a freaking bitch she is. And, you know, I'm like, oh, this is just so intense. Like, I know I'm doing the best I can, but like what has been coming back to is just like, okay, wait. What brings you joy? A. And then B, bring in that masculine business mentality. You've got to make a career out of it. It can't just be whenever you want or whenever you can. You can't just be squeezing it in on the back burner. You need a schedule. You need to clock in and clock out. You need to treat it like a business, and realizing that my divine counterpart's mission work is just to find joy right now. That's the thing. Like, the mission work really is the two of you living harmoniously. And and setting an example, both literally and energetically, on what a healthy relationship is, and helping to change the dynamic between male and female energies, not, in the gender form, what we see physically, because obviously we have a lot of people that are coming out as transgender or like confused about their sexuality even. It's about us like kind of setting the record straight that we're all equal and we're all one. And yes, it is primarily energy. It's not like the both of you are going to go write a book about divine feminine and divine masculine, although maybe I will. But you know what I mean? So what I have decided is that the divine masculine isn't necessarily going to be doing the same kind of work as the divine feminine. So, this is, my point is that there is a bit of an illusion in the spirit talk. And, another thing that I feel is so weird is, that it does seem like most people in the community kind of come out like they are already angels on earth. And I am here to tell you that I am still incredibly human, but I have a short temper sometimes. I definitely am still dealing with a lot of negative self-talk. I definitely am always still trying to improve myself. That has not changed. I'm always like, okay, this year I'm going to meditate every day. And yeah, if you did not watch my 2020 video, I will post a link over here, I think. Go ahead and watch that, because I have a lot of goals set up for this year that I'm really excited about, and I feel like I'm going to accomplish them all. But I just wanted to make my whole point of this video is to make it super duper clear that it never ends, okay? And I do think that the spirit kind of dangles a carrot in front of you, about union. And it's so, I know that when I was desperately watching twin flame videos every day and from different readers and just trying to gather as much information as I could, that I never was able to really catch anyone that was in union except for Lee and Sherry. I think they're the most well-known union couple. And I just never felt like there was a real talk about what it's like. What is it like, And so I'm here to tell you what it's like. And this is the thing, that I also wanted to add is that I don't think that anybody is going to have the exact same twin flame experience. That's like trying to say that you have an exact same life like somebody else on this planet. Is that even possible? No, and I feel like that is just something that isn't really talked about either in the twin flame community, or it's not said enough maybe, but you're unique. Your issues are unique, and your twins' issues are perfectly matched for your issues. And I can tell you that my twins' issues and my issues match each other pretty damn well. We have some of the same issues that have come about from different means, and we deal with our issues a little differently, but our issues themselves are pretty much the same, which is really wild to me. But it's because they manifest differently, we kind of learn them and how to deal with them differently. But no, your union experience will be a different story. I think that in terms of if you generalize it out, it's going to be hard. And if you're really worried about mission work, don't worry about mission work right now. All I want you to worry about is loving on yourself. That's Spirit's all Spirit wants you to do is love on yourself and work on what you can. They're don't be intimidated by any of this that I'm sharing with you. I just want you to know that the last 2.5 years have been a real uphill battle for me. And I do feel like I'm finally getting out of my honeymoon period. And as soon as my honeymoon period ends, it's back to work. So let's be clear. The honeymoon period is not a vacation. The honeymoon period is a super deep, emotionally confrontational and rewarding experience. It is both super amazing love and super scary fears. It's it's everything. So yeah, I don't know. I hope I left you with some more answers than I did questions. And I do encourage you to ask me questions. I kind of want to make this a series, like Life After Union series. And I don't know, let me know what you think about that. Please comment and, you know, share it with somebody else that you think would appreciate this. I am not going to be doing twin flame videos every week, but I am going to give you amazing content as often as possible. I really want to go for more than once a week, so let's see how I do. Let's see if I can balance some more of that masculine energy of like schedules. I love you guys so much. Many, many blessings. Mwah.